All right, it looks like we are live. My lighting seems a little weird, but we'll have to work that. Good morning, everybody. My name is Crystal and Sophia. I am an astrologer, folk magician, astrological magician. I do all the magic-y stuff, and I love to share it with you, and I love to answer your questions and help us ground into the week with what the astrology is doing up there and how we can work with that magically down here. So good morning to Kristen, to Jenny, to Aaron, and everyone else who is jumping on. One quick note. Our lovely mod AJ is not with us today, so you may notice me checking the chat a little bit more diligently just to make sure that I don't miss anything. If I happen to miss your question, please feel free to just retype it, and I will do my best to get to as much as I can in this hour. Um, so before we even jumped on, Kristen, you were talking about the surge group that is happening this week. For anybody who's wondering, on the 19th, we are doing a special interest research group, Surge, through the NCGR organization. And I am going to be leading a special interest research group on annual perfections. Good morning, Ren. So, annual perfections is one of the most accessible timing techniques in astrology, metaphorically being your own personal timing, unraveling in the background of everything else that is going on in real time. And so, annual perfections, like I said, super easy to track, super easy to figure out. Kristen, you were saying how you may prioritize the Pop Stars course on my website over Surge because your timing allotment is more conducive to Pop Stars. And I do teach you annual perfections in Pop Stars. So you will know how to do it by accessing that through Pop Stars. No problem. You'll also get a lot of the basic astrology in there too. We're basically doing some segments of Pop Stars in the first research meeting this week. And then we're going to go off into the way that the ancients did annual perfections and try to see if we can really narrow down how specific annual perfections can be and how to analyze different complications in annual perfections. For example, in annual perfections, you look at the sign of the house that is highlighted for the year based on your age in annual perfections, and you would look to the ruler of that sign to be your time lord for the year or your special buddy, your guardian planet over that year. However, if there are planets in that sign, there is a theory that perhaps they also become participating time lords of the year. And if so, at what point in the year do they take over? Do they all rule at the same time? All of these questions we would have, we will research and come up with our own conclusions through actual experimentation and examples. So that's what the Surge group is going to do. But if you just want to learn how to do it for your own chart and figure out who your time lord is, Pop Stars has got you. So I think you're going to be all right with that one. Good morning, Danny, who had a birthday recently. Nicole, good morning. Lori, hi. I think I caught Rita. Good morning. Fantastic. And Russ is here. All the important info. Yes. Would it be helpful if we put our questions in all caps? Or can you put like a Q and then a dash or a colon and then write your question out? Because all caps helps me when Amber's doing it. But if we do everybody doing it, it might look a little abrasive. So just doing a Q or question in all caps, whichever one you prefer, and then asking the question would help me just glance at it and find it. I'm usually pretty good about self-modding, but AJ has spoiled me. So we'll see how it goes. Yes. And if you do have questions, I'm here for it. Angela, hello. Good morning. So, you guys, speaking of getting grounded, that's the Surge meeting this week. If you wanted to join that Surge to research annual perfections and also get monthly live calls with me and my friend Vivi, you can join NCGR. You just grab a year subscription and then you can join as many research groups as you want for free. And you get a ton of free education there, including the Hellenistic track that I am starting and the mentorship programs that I am starting. So I'm involved with it in a deeper level. And yeah, that starts this week. But if you jump in at different times, we should be able to help everybody feel caught up. So no worries. Good morning, Shauna and Misty and Aurora. Great to see you. The Devil and Eight of Pentacles for my daily card drawing today. Sounds like some changes are on the horizon, but you're almost there, it looks like. So that's nice. Cool. So this week, speaking of the devil, Scorpio has a new moon this week. So our new moon that is coming this week, and I don't know if you guys have like looked at the moon in the mornings, right before sunup, you're going to see the moon on the eastern horizon. This is because the moon is coming into being new with the sun. The moon is going towards the sun. So she is there right before sunup every morning with just a little sliver of light. And that's because the sun is here and the moon is here and the light from the sun is only hitting her at this angle and we can only see the sliver of it, right? So the astronomy of seeing a new moon coming at us, which means right now, if you look up in the sky, you probably won't see the moon. You won't see her at night because she doesn't come around until the morning right before the sun comes up. So we are in that balsamic phase of the moon where she's not quite visible for us, but you can still catch her little sliver and it's really gorgeous. I've been looking at her the last couple mornings as I do my workout. It's great. She's right in my window. Cool. She has been gorgeous, right? Yeah. So take a look at her because this is my thing. Astrology is awesome. And I'm going to show you a chart. And we do a lot of astrology by using charts and lines and symbols on pieces of paper or on screens. But what we're actually looking at is a way to track what's going up there, what's going on in the sky. So if the more you look at the sky, the more you relate what you're seeing on that chart to what's actually happening in the sky, the more you're going to come into communion with astrology. And that's one of the best parts about it, in my opinion. So look at the moon, realize she's coming to be new, and that's why you only get a little bit of a sliver. And then later this week on the 20th, she will be new with the sun. So she'll be completely invisible to us because, she'll only be around when the sun's up and she'll be right where the sun is. So the glare of the sun will make it hard for us to see her. So keeping that in mind, she is going to be new this week with a lot of interesting, I'm going to say complications again, but I mean complications like a watch face complication, and perhaps some complications otherwise as well. She's going to be new in the sign of Scorpio. Now, there's a couple things we can talk about the moon. One of the things is that she does her best in two different signs. She has her domicile. She is the landlord of the sign of Cancer, right? And then when she visits Taurus, she is exalted there. So those are her two best places in the sky to be. So when she is opposite of those places, which would be Capricorn, opposite of Cancer, and Scorpio, opposite of Taurus, she struggles a little bit. And the ancients put a lot of weight, in fact, on the signs opposite of the exaltations, which were called the fall of that planet. Think about being lifted up, right? You have your 2 seconds of fame. Everybody loves you. You've gone viral, and then you do something wrong. And so now everybody actively doesn't like you. That would be the idea and the vibe of a planet being in fall. This area, this genre of energy that sign represents does not like the planet. In this case, the moon being in fall in Scorpio. I natally have my moon in Scorpio, and I can tell you if you do have it, don't panic. It's fine. You may have a bit of a morbid sense of humor, but we get by, right? There are other things it means as well. But this week, the new moon will be in Scorpio. It is the only time in the year that we will have a new moon in the sign of Scorpio because the sun has to be there too, right? So you only get one new moon in a sign per year. You only get one full moon in a sign per year. And it's because the relationship of the moon and the sun are what make those new and full moons. So if the sun is in Scorpio and the moon is in Scorpio, new moon, but the sun's only in Scorpio once a year, right? For that one period. And so that's how we know this is the one time this year we will have this new moon in Scorpio, and next year we'll have it again. So it's not super rare, but it is an annual thing. My son is in Scorpio, so this is cool. Jenny, love that. You and Danny have that in common, since I know Danny had a birthday recently. My son is in Taurus, so they are opposite each other. I was born under just about a full moon, which means I was born in May, where the sun was in Taurus, and the moon was exactly opposite in Scorpio, which is the one time a year that happens as well, if that makes sense, right? So let me know in the chat if you are ready to look at the chart for this new moon. We can look at it together. I will have a video out on this later this week here on the YouTube, just like a 10 or 15 minute overview of the astrology and stuff. Looks like Aaron is ready. Fantastic. And we'll go into this because there are some things that I think are going to be very easy to spot as soon as you see the chart. So I'm excited to show you guys. Charts. It's like couch. Fantastic. Let's pull up La Luna. All right. So in La Luna, we see, can anybody find the moon? We're going to play like a little Blues Clues here. Show me the moon. She's right at the bottom. Couch, couch, couch. Exactly. So the moon is down here in Scorpio, our little M with a little devil's tail. That's how you know you're looking at Scorpio. Usually it'll also be blue because the element of Scorpio is water. So we represent that with blue on a chart. The sun is also right there. So you can see them both at 28 degrees and 11 minutes. It's a little small maybe on your chart. I hope not. 28 degrees and 11 minutes. That is the exact conjunction of the sun and the moon, this new moon. But they're not the only ones on that degree. So if we look over here, Mercury is still quite close to the sun as well. Mercury is actually moving backwards, which is why you see them red with the little RX here. That means this planet is retrograde. Saturn is also retrograde. Jupiter is also retrograde. Uranus is also retrograde. Neptune is also retrograde. Nobody else is retrograde. It's fine. So we have Mercury retrograde, but it's conjoining with the sun. So over the course of this same day, Mercury will move backwards enough to meet up with the sun. The moon's going to keep cruising forward. So everything's moving at different speeds. And so we're going to see this kind of like bing, 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 right? The thing we're paying attention to here, though, is that Mercury is what we call partile, Partile. That just means they are on the same numerical degree as the sun and the moon. So they are partile conjunct. We would call them conjunct if they were at like 29 while the moon was at 28 or the sun was at 28. We would call them conjunct if they were at 27, give or take about 3 degrees. We'd call them conjunct. Honestly, with the moon, I'd give it even a wider, what we call an orb. But here it's partile. It's right there. And so with this partile conjunction, not only with the moon adding to the flavor of this new moon, making that Mercury, the retrograde Mercury energy in Scorpio blends in, like imagine putting the planets in a blender, right? It all goes to the same place. That's what we kind of see with a conjunction, right? That's how you can interpret a conjunction as an aspect. And so we see that Mercury gets blended into this new moon energy. It is inseparable from that. But not only that, this is an indication, and we have several indications of the same thing in the chart, of a planetary phase change. So planets, all of them, go through phases. The moon goes through phases around the Earth. And so we see her go through her phases by the way that her light is, or the sun's light is reflected off of her. Full moon, new moon, first quarter, last quarter, all those things. But we go through phases around the sun. We mark them centrally and egocentrically as the seasons, right? So we're in this quarterly phase of our cycle around the sun. The other planets do that too. And the cool thing about this week, and very visible during this new moon, is you can see, I can spot one, two, actually like every planet except Pluto that we can see here is going through a planetary phase change. It's amazing. The moon is going to be new. So she is becoming a new moon. That's a phase change, right? Mercury is becoming, is renewing their cycle. This is the beginning of Mercury's cycle. So we chart Mercury. I'm going to do my funny little thing here. You know what? We'll do it with these guys because at least they're all round. So this one is the sun. You are going to play the role of the earth. And this one is going to be the moon. So the yellower one is the sun. And even to make it easier, the darker one will make the moon, okay? Moon, sun. You are the earth. So the sun's over here. The moon is closer to you, right? So the moon's cycles go around you, right? And it's all about how does the sun reflect off of the moon. So when the moon is like this, if it were like this, we'd be having an eclipse. It's not. It's probably down here or up here. That's how we know it's just a new moon and not an eclipse. And so it's new because it's invisible in the light of the sun. It begins this new cycle though, and will become full later when it's on the other side of you, Earth, and you can see the fullness of it all lit up in the sky. And then it comes back around and completes the circle, right? Completes the cycle. What we are seeing now too with Mercury, Mercury isn't going around you. Mercury does not circle around the Earth. It goes around the sun as all the other planets do. And Earth's position in the solar system tells us how to spot the ways that the cycles go on a chart. You can eyeball the phase of a planet just by looking at the chart. I'm going to teach you how to do it right now. So if you have questions as I go, please feel free to ask them. This is a really fun thing to be able to do. It makes you feel really like a good astrologer when you learn it. So I want you to be able to feel good about it today. So we have the sun. far away from the earth. We have Mercury, which goes around the sun. And so we're seeing now, you see this in 2D, even though I'm doing it in 3D, right? So you are seeing the cycle of Mercury. When Mercury is between the earth and the sun, they are typically going retrograde. And when they conjoin with the sun, as they are doing in this chart, they start their cycle again, which is going to be an entire circle right back to there. So they are retrograde for this entire period. And then they go direct again. And you can see how they're covering the same space on your screen as, front and back, right? So this same space that they're covering here, they're covering again here. That's retrograde. It appears to stop and retrace its steps, but really it's just a circle that you are witnessing in 2D. And so we have the conjunction here, which is Mercury starting its cycle again, which will go all the way around. It will have a conjunction midway between Mercury retrogrades while it's direct over here. That's like the full moon, right? And then it'll come back around again and start again. So we are seeing Mercury's beginning of a new cycle on the same degree as the moon. And so that's the interior planets. Interior planets are really just Venus and Mercury. They're the ones that, relative to Earth's cycle around the sun or circle around the sun, our orbit, they are inside of our orbit. All the other planets are outside. So now, if you see the sun, and then I'm going to play Earth here so that I can show you like the actual visual of stuff going on the outside. You have the sun, you have Earth, and then you have a planet. Let's take Jupiter, for example, right? We still are looking at a circle here. So if you see Jupiter conjunct the sun, it is still beginning a new cycle. But from our perspective, we are going to see it oppose the sun, just like with the moon, right? So we are going to see it oppose the sun way over here, and it's going to come back around here and then start its cycle again. What we are seeing on this chart is Jupiter being right about here. So the sun is here, Jupiter's out here. They are at a 180-degree angle relative to each other from our perspective. And so because of that, Jupiter is going to appear to go backwards while the sun, who is moving faster through the sky, according to our perspective, continues to move. So even though Jupiter is going around the sun, from our perspective, because we're standing on Earth and that's the only way we can look at stuff, right? From our perspective, the sun goes faster through our sky. So it actually is going to look like Jupiter and then the sun kind of catching up to Jupiter, right? And so that's how we have to see it. The planets on the inside of Earth's orbit move faster. The planets on the outside move slower, and the sun is kind of in the middle, right? So the actual order of speed of the planets goes from fastest to slowest like this. The moon, obviously the fastest, then Mercury, then Venus, then the sun. And then we get Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, and the other outer planets. They are the slower ones. So that's what we're actually seeing astronomically, and we interpret it astrologically based on how we see their orientation affect us here. If we were on Mars, we would have to do the same kind of thing, but from the perspective of Mars, and Earth would take that place, right? So Earth would then, it would probably be what? You wouldn't incorporate the moon. You'd have to look at Mars's moon, right? So it would be Mars's moon. And then the next fastest might be Mercury, Venus, Earth, Sun. You see what I mean here, right? So if we ever get to another planet, we're going to have to redo the astrology. I volunteer. That'll be really fun. So love the use of physical representation of the planets. I'm glad the visuals are helpful. Yeah, they help me too. Because I'll tell you, I figured out all these things just by doing it for a really long time and then being like, wait a second. And so I want to make that wait a second happen for you a lot faster. So when we look at this chart, again, we are seeing the beginning of new cycles here with the interior, right? Mercury's interior relative to the Earth. But the exteriors are going through new cycles too. So this one, we see Jupiter has just stationed retrograde last week, if you remember, right? And the way you can eyeball whether a planet trine to the sun is stationing retrograde or direct, because Saturn and Neptune are getting ready to station direct. But how can you tell? Again, the sun is going to move faster than these guys. So Jupiter is going to hang out in Cancer until June. So Jupiter's there for a while. Saturn's in Pisces for a couple more months and then hangs out in Aries for 2.5 years, right? But the sun is going to get into Sagittarius very soon. Later, I believe next week. And so the sun moving into Sagittarius, actually, it might be this week. I think it is this week. Yeah, because it's days here. So it's about 2 days after this, the sun will get into Sagittarius. And so if the sun, moving along as the sun does, will oppose a planet, as we are seeing it does here with Uranus, the sun is opposing Uranus. Uranus is halfway through Uranus's retrograde cycle. This is actually a fun phrase. It's called curtailed passage. It's the halfway motion of Uranus's cycle. Uranus moves from being I believe it's from being an evening star to being a morning star. So you'll see it instead of at night, you'll see it in the morning. And so here we see that Jupiter's in Cancer. The sun is moving away from Cancer. The sun's going to go to Sagittarius next, and then it'll go into Capricorn, which is the opposite sign of Cancer, which will be that halfway point for Jupiter. So we know Jupiter has just begun the retrograde, as compared to Saturn, where the sun is now working to catch up with Saturn, moving towards that conjunction. That means Saturn is about to station direct. And the same goes for Neptune. Neptune's going to take a little bit longer because he's way out there, but that's how we can tell. That's how you can eyeball it. So this is your crash course on looking at a chart and saying, is a planet about to go retrograde? Is a planet about to go direct? Or is a planet halfway through their cycle? Now you know. And all of this is happening during the new moon. So let's bring that back around, right? The new moon personalizes things. The moon's whole job in astrology is to translate the planets to us down here in the composite world being the place made up of physical stuff. Like us, we're made up of tons of elements and things, right? And so the moon translates all of what's going on up there down to us. She speaks our language and there. She's a polyglot. And so the moon is catching all of this as it's happening, and it's all talking directly to her, right? Jupiter and Saturn are trying each other partilely because they are at 25 and 25, and they're very close. They're within that 3 degrees, trining the sun, the moon, and Mercury. This is a heck of a thing, right? They're all in water signs. So that's another way you can eyeball whether they are trying to each other. So we're actually seeing a grand water trine happening during this new moon. And all of that is being also complicated. I think that's going to be the word of this new moon by Uranus here, who is in an earth sign, which is forming a partile sextile to Neptune. So another conversation that's happening very closely, but it's also very close to the trine between Jupiter and Saturn. And it's also very close to that opposition to the conjunction between Mars, or between the moon, the sun, and Mercury. They are all talking to each other. They can all see each other. This is actually, I don't know why it's not showing these little sextile lines that you could have here, but this is actually forming an aspect that in more modern astrology, like from the 1900s on, you would call this a kite aspect, because it would make like a kite shape, right? So it's a grand trine that also has an opposition to it. And so we're seeing all of these guys are having a really fluid conversation. And then Uranus is like, hey, I'm going to be the one who comes in and is a little contrarian to make sure we stay on track and we're not just like, puffing each other up, right? So that's a lot of energy. And then also, even though it's just over the boundary of the signs here, Pluto is going to have a conversation probably the next couple days with the sun as well. That little sextile line that we're seeing there. So the only planets that are left out of this new moon conversation are Venus and Mars. They're not far away, but they're also not in close, right? Everybody else is whispering and they're on the seat over here. And they're just not hearing the conversation. In next week's skit, Venus gets a little ticked off about that. So yeah, that's a lot of talking between the planets. Aspectos, the root word, was Greek for like a conversation. And so that's what aspect means. It's how well can these planets talk to each other? How easy is the conversation? Trines are super easy. You just slide on in, right? Oppositions create some tension. Imagine pulling the rope and playing a little bit of tug of war. Conjunctions, we're just mind melding at that point. And squares will create a little bit of conflict. So each person has their own opinion and they've got to hash out whether or not they're going to find a compromise or agree to disagree. So that's what's going on. And that's how we can sort of isolate what's happening with this new moon. That's a lot, right? That's a lot happening. And of course, all of these things are perfecting over the course of the week. So if you watch my skit that will air probably later this evening on my social media platforms, I combine all of that into the skit and try to make it into a story format, which makes a little bit more sense. So catch that on my social media, wherever you do social media, it'll be everywhere. So, how does that feel? Grand Water Trine sounds like a big important gathering with a fancy stage, lots of food, many in attendance. It kind of is. Think about it like a banquet, right? It's just the planets all talking to each other, right? That's what we look for. When they talk to each other, stuff happens. If you think about it as like gears ticking into place on a lock, you know how you listen for that click? We have a lot of clicks here. So the lock is ready to open, right? The combination is correct and we are ready to open up the door. And so I would expect to see some headlines around this new moon, but also no, new moons are very personal for you. Exactly, Shauna. Water brings out a lot of emotions. So this is very personal for you, as well as something that's happening on a larger scale. Now, where do I pull that off from, right? The moon, the sun, and Mercury are very personal planets. Again, those are the planets that are closest to Earth, so we feel them more, especially the moon. When something talks to the moon, we hear it immediately. The moon is going to come and immediately give us the hot goss. The outer planets move slower. And so what they do unfolds at a slower pace, but also on a higher scale. So we call those the social planets. When they are involved, we may notice something happens on a social level and that the moon makes it feel more personal to us. So this is when like a decision happens in a leadership capacity that we feel affected by. And so keep an eye out for that this week, especially around the 20th, but leading up to that. And then also, just processing it after the 20th as well. Uranus is going to be something that we see happening. Uranus is considered transpersonal because way out there, super far away, right? So it takes a long time to do what he's doing. And so with that, we might see that on more of a global scale or more of a like higher level scale. So social scales, transpersonal scales, and then the closest is the personal scale, right? That's how we can do that. And to those of you who are in Pop Stars, I categorize the planets in 3 different videos to help you understand that. So Pop Stars, if anybody doesn't know, is the course I released recently on my website. It's I think my lowest ticket item because I want you to be able to do it. I literally want you to be able to do this one because astrologers on social media and the spiritual psychosis on social media is bugging me out. And I want to make sure you have everything you need to feel educated and grounded in what you see, to be able to say, yep, this is actually important. And I know it's important to me as an individual, which is a whole other thing that we get to do in that course. Or, nope, this is just someone sensationalizing and I don't need to pay attention. That way you get to feel safe and strong and grounded and smart, which I love for you as well. Yeah. Misty, thank you. Yeah. So that is the new moon. Okay. Any questions on that before I bring the chart down? Happy to show anything, happy to catch up. I think I'm all caught up. The only all caps I see is couch, couch, couch. And I agree with that too. The moon being in fall in Scorpio, again, doesn't have as much energy as you would think. And the moon is new, right? So she's completely gone. Couch, 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 couch may be a good idea this week during that new moon. Let yourself rest. You're probably doing deeper work than you think. Scorpio does a lot of depth. When we come to water signs, here's something fun. Discernment is super powerful. Yes. So when we come to water signs, I like to think about Cancer is the beach, right? It's where the waves are coming in. It's a cardinal water sign. So there's change, there's initiation, there's stuff going on. Pisces is the Marianas Trench. It's the currents under the ocean that are changing things and actually changing the way the ocean floor is because they move things side to side. The fixed water sign is Scorpio. And so this is your stagnant water. And this can be where there are still waters, right? And you know what they say about still waters running deep, right? So think about Scorpio as your still waters that run deep. And so that means there's a lot of deep stuff happening that you may not show off on the surface. This is why Scorpios are always pegged for keeping secrets. It's not that we're keeping secrets, we just don't want to overwhelm you. If you told us, it would be like Pandora's box if we opened up sometimes. So, um, that is when you can take your time, take your rest, do what you need to for yourself so that you can make sure your still waters are nourished, right? They may get stirred up a little bit. There's a lot going on around here. Um, Shauna asks, do I practice traditional Samhain around this time at all? I'm not really I have not practiced Samhain much. I'm running around like a maniac these days. I'm trying to, according to my therapist, I'm looking for my exhale right now. So I'm working on whatever rest means to me this week. And honestly, if I'm honest, hang on, my primary sort of ritual basis that I base my own little calendar off of is not necessarily the wheel of the year, though the seasons are incorporated. I use astrology for that. Astrology is what I base my plans off of. So I'll do rituals that are more according to the planets, more according to the seasons representing the sun. So it can often coincide with the wheel of the year in its different forms, but mine is more based off of planetary ritual. So anybody who is celebrating Samhain traditionally this week, not congratulations, but I wish you the best. Tell me how it goes. Share what you're doing, because I support it. I support everybody doing whatever feels right for them. I am not going to be stingy or stuffy on how you practice your spirituality. If you feel good about it and you feel confident about it and you feel like it helps you heal and grow and love yourself best so that you can maybe connect with other people when you feel like it's right, yeah, that's the right thing to me. You're doing it great. You're fantastic. Yeah. Cozy Comfort Christmas tree is going up early this week, man. So we just got a new Christmas tree and I'm excited about it. And we we reworked our living room so that the tree can go in the middle of the window this year. I'm so excited. And something else really cool happened in my life recently that I'm excited about too. So like we're my husband Dan and I are both looking for the exhale, right? Because it's been a heck of a year. I don't know if you guys have been following me this whole time, but it's been wild, and I deserve a nap. And with that, I'm focusing on comfort and cozy and things like that. So we got a new Christmas tree to sort of celebrate all of that. Hey, Gabe, and I'm excited to put it up, but dang it, with respect to Dan, I'm going to wait until Thanksgiving. That's our compromise. I would probably put it up sooner just because I really like the coziness and the reminder that it gives me. But Dan's like, no, can we just let Christmas season be Christmas season? So on Thanksgiving, when we come home from our family celebrations, we put up our decorations that day. And that is our great compromise that we have. And it's something to look forward to, which I appreciate. Yeah. Yay, all the little Christmas trees. Yeah. Dan and I'm doing some more reading for my theology mentorship that I'm in. My theology mentor assigned me some new theosophic uh texts and research, and I'm really enjoying it. And so last night I was grumbling with Dan about the different cosmologies of different perspectives, especially in theosophy, which is still fun to say. And he was trying to rationalize or offer an alternative with Taoism. Dan is much more well versed in Taoism than I am. I am very type A, so I think I make a terrible Taoist. But Dan makes a fantastic Taoist, and he constantly rounds me out and grounds me with that. And so we were having a wonderful conversation about that last night. Just about stillness and the duality of the world or lack thereof, and like how can you work with that? Is there neutrality? The whole thing. We had a wonderful conversation about it. We are doing the thing called life. Yes, we are, Liz, even when it hits you like a truck or a car, whatever. Next week the Christmas decorations are going up Friday after Thanksgiving. Whoop, whoop. Yes, that's so good. Yeah, so I hope you guys are doing great. I'm feeling so much better. I'm feeling the best I have this whole year. Because again, it's been a lot. And of course, astrology had a lot to say about that. And I just decided to ride it out instead of hyperfixating on it. So yay me, leaning into my I guess my more Taoist side, the attempt of. Um, But yeah, so how are you guys doing? Anything else you guys want to cover right now? Any questions again regarding that new moon that we're dealing with this week? Rolling with the flow. That is always a good way to do it. If you do nothing else, knowing that you can go with the flow, I think is a really great foundation to go by. I'm not going to call it a fallback because it really is a foundational thing of just like, even when your best plans or routines fall apart, it's okay. It's really okay. You can pick up and you can readjust. It's okay. So I hope that you guys are feeling that too. Yeah, I'm looking at the calendar of transits for this week and it's just so much. We talked about all of it, which is great. But it looks so busy. The good news is when Mercury reaches the halfway point in their retrograde, they will be in Scorpio, which means they're not in Sagittarius anymore. Scorpio, as we talked about detriments and stuff earlier, not Scorpio. Mercury is detriment in Sagittarius. And so at least that bit of chaos may alleviate. We still have a retrograde Mercury, but it's not in a sign that makes it even more, fiery and mutable. So we'll take it. Douse that flame and calm it down for a second. Do some baking. Oh man. So Dan was trying a new recipe yesterday, and like I consider cooking to be magic in all of its forms because you're bringing things together. It's basically alchemy. So you bring all of these ingredients together and you make something out of them. And sometimes it's delicious, and sometimes you got to throw it out. Now, if it's me, sometimes you got to throw it out. But Dan crushed it. He made an apple butter pie. And we actually went to an orchard to get their apple butter. And I was skeptical because I was like, this is going to be like a watery weirdness thing. It's delicious. So the test passed, and we will be bringing that to our family events this holiday season, along with my cookies, which I'm excited to be able to make again. Thank goodness Mercury will be out of Sagittarius. Your sun is in Sag and you felt it. Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. Apple butter pie, y'all. I recommend it. It's delicious. It has the same consistency as like a pudding pie. It's like moussey a little bit, but I don't know. It's just really good. There's this chocolate fudge pie that is from like, I think it's called Ukrop's Bakery. So it's like brownie batter-ish, right? But imagine that with apple butter flavor. It's just good. Apple butter pie. I recommend it. Your guide sent a really cool sign to move forward with something that is not usually a Mercury retrograde thing to do. Awesomeness. I've been noticing that a lot with this Mercury retrograde. Life has been lifing, and people have had to do unconventional things that would normally be cautioned against in Mercury retrograde. And, that's what life does. I had to do something last week where I was like, this is not a Mercury retrograde thing. I'm getting a haircut next week. So like, I'm just going against it the entire time. We'll see how it goes. Have you ever had pumpkin butter? I have not had pumpkin butter. I should though. My cookies that I make are pumpkin cookies. It's very good. Getting your haircut today, Erin. I hope you love it. Yeah, that's the one thing that I've never really noticed actually applying. At least in personal experience, is like, don't get a haircut. But like, I also have been with my hairdresser for years. So it's not like I'm trying a new hairstylist with a new hairstyle, blah, blah, blah. I also am totally up for changing my hair whenever, as you might have noticed. Sometimes people are like, do you have an updated photo, like a headshot? And I'm just like, keep using this one from years ago because you can't pin down what my hair is going to look like week to week, let alone, year to year. I'm always changing that. But yeah, it is delicious. The pie, it's really good. I recommend it if you want to look for a recipe on it. It's a great idea. I don't know what the recipe is. He found it. I'm just really lucky to be with a partner who is so good at making good food. It's amazing. Yeah. So, yeah. So that was the main thing I wanted to talk about today. I feel like it's covered, but again, if there's anything about that didn't make sense that you're like, hey, can you review that again? I was thinking about it and I don't get it. Happy to explain some more. Just let me know. I covered it quicker than I thought I was going to. So if you need me to do it slower or with more time, I'm here. I've got all the time in the next 20 minutes. Every time I see cozy Taurus memes, I think of you. Yeah, I appreciate that. I do love cozy vibes, man. I really do. I try to bring them into my everyday. If you saw my office right now, like you can already see this much, but even facing that way, which is the rest of the room, this is the coziest little cottage room I have ever had in my life. It's connected to the kitchen and it's perfect. And it makes me really, really happy. Um, I've been doing a lot of hearth work recently and not even like structured hearth work, just going around to all of the doorways in my house and putting my hands on the doorways and telling the house how much I appreciate it. Like this room, I love what you do for me. This room, this wall, this thing, and just going around to the house and letting it know that it is appreciated has been really good. Russ, how's the Twitch stream going? Okay, I think it's going really well. First of all, I've gotten good feedback from the people who have been on it. I hope it grows because I'm having a blast. It is so much fun. The people who have been interactive there have been fantastic. AJ is our mod there as well, does a fantastic job, is so incredibly helpful. And you know, people who have watched it have had good things to say. We are getting the cozy vibes out of it. And also I get to talk about my favorite things and answer questions. And it's wonderful. It's on Wednesdays and it's actually my only evening thing. I am not a night person, right? But these I have the energy to do at night. And so, yay, Nicole, thank you so much. Yeah, Wednesday nights, 6 p.m. Eastern time to 8 p.m. Eastern time over on Twitch. And it's really great. Like I've got something of a setup. I'm going to keep playing with it. I think we can do better. I went into like a what should I do? And now I'm getting into the I really don't care what you think I should do. I think this is more convenient kind of thing. Figuring it out as I go, very Mercury retrograde. But there's nothing that I'm figuring out that has gotten in the way too much of the stream itself. And the chats have been lovely. I remember my first Twitch stream a couple weeks ago. My only goal was to have sustained conversation because I feel like the conversation really makes it worth it for people, right? So sustained conversation enough for an hour. That was my goal. Just give me enough conversation to manage an hour long stream for everybody. And we went straight into 2 hours very easily. This last week, we managed 2 hours easily again, and we are growing very steadily. And so if you want to join us, share it with your friends, watch us while you're having your dinner or whatever. That's awesome too. If you want us, here's my little hack too. Again, cozy, right? So I will have dinner and watch Twitch streams. It's one of my favorite things to do is watch cozy gamers play their games. And if you still want to be able to participate in the chat, you can download the Twitch app and you can chat from your phone and watch it on your TV. And that way you get the best of both worlds if that's something you prefer. But that way you can also get your questions in, comment on things, because I'm in it for you guys. I'm having a good time. Don't get me wrong. I am enjoying it. It is mutually beneficial and honestly lights me up more than I can really say. So I really hope that continues to grow because I would love for that to be more of a supported thing for us. It's so good. I didn't know you could do that. Yeah. And that way, again, you can be on your couch instead of at a computer or whatever's most comfortable for you. It makes so much more sense to me. In fact, I'm actually, I'm getting my setup right now. Right now, I'm still going for my desk because I wanted to purchase a new gaming PC, but it's back ordered. Go figure. So it's going to take me a while, but I'm also setting it up so that I'm going to be on a recliner in my living room. You won't know because it's green screen, but I'll be able to be super cozy and doing that with you guys too. And my systems are all going to be upgraded soon. I have to do it a little bit at a time because, you know, the times they are what they are. But I have the plans and my Christmas list will hopefully help me out there. So it'll be even faster. But it's going to be great. It's going to be fantastic. And I'm so excited about it. I'm hoping to move to a headset with a microphone here so that we'll have even better quality that way. But yeah, it's going to be really cool. And we'll be able to play whatever games we want because it's me on the channel, but to me, it's your channel. That is how I view all of my stuff. I am doing stuff that I get to do that I love. And my motivation is that it's useful to you. Here, I'm trying to educate. Here, I'm trying to help you create community. Monday Magic Mood Boosts are to help you feel like this week is not going to conquer you. You are powerful. You are centered. You are good to go. You know what you're doing. Wednesdays our decompression, right? To me, Wednesday is the nervous system reboot. That's what I want for you guys. So again, community, but also cozy gaming, casual conversation, learning a little bit more that way, and laughing as we inevitably die 4 times just trying to get a fish. So that's what Wednesday is. It's the nervous system reboot that I want for you. And then, of course, Fridays with M are the let's spill the ink from the week and see how things are going, and recap what we're feeling so that we can have a weekend where we feel like stuff is processed. Now I get to rest and we get to start again on Monday with tons of support. Yeah, so that's my goal. That's what I'm trying for. And yeah, it's feeling supportive so far, and I hope it can continue to be that way. It's so much fun, and I appreciate you guys for being there. So thank you. Um, and all of that, of course, is just to get us through until trips. Like my biggest thing is like, when do I get to travel again and see the world and see my people? If you're interested in a trip, by the way, we do still have openings on all 3 of our 2026 trips, and they are still very open. There are payment plans, all that stuff you can check out. There will be a link on this video in the description, and there always is. All of my videos have it, and you can check out there if you feel like traveling and getting out of this bubble for a while. I know that's one of my best nervous system resets, and we do our best to make that really useful for you guys too. Aaron says, I've been stuck trying to get that dang fish. Rage quit for a little bit. Your gameplay has been encouraging. Aaron, I had to get off the plateau to get the fish. So if anybody's wondering, I am playing Breath of the Wild. I assume Aaron is as well. And one of the things that they allow you to do is I don't know where the fish are on the plateau. I didn't find them. I just wung it and it worked ish. Because you have to go into a cold area, and you either have to cook something that keeps you warm. We talked about magical correspondence and cooking with that one, or you give a recipe to this old guy, and he gives you a shirt that will keep you warmer. I could not find a fish, so I wung it. I ate a bunch of peppers and ran, and and it worked. We did it, and then I was able to get off the plateau because of what unlocks in the story after that. And dang it, I found a fish, so I'm going back and I'm getting that shirt. Eventually, the story is going to give us a whole new awesome looking outfit that does the same thing. But dang it, I set a goal and I'm going to finish it because I am a fixed person. Most of my placements are in fixed signs. I decided I'm going to do something, and thus I will. But yeah, Aaron, I think you're going to want to look in like rivers and running water. I think there is somewhere on that plateau a river. I know we didn't, exhaust the plateau in our exploration of it. I imagine you can get it at that point just because it makes sense in the game. But I found a fish off the plateau, and I'm going to go back and get my dues, which in this case is a t-shirt or a sweater. I don't know. I know it's a shirt, it's a top. So it'll go much better with our new pants that we found, which is exciting. So we'll look a little bit more put together before we start encountering people off the plateau, which will be very soon. Probably this week we'll be getting our first horse, which will be fun and funny, I imagine. And doing a couple side quests on our way to, I believe the next stop is going to be Kakariko Village, which is one of my favorite places in the game too. Yeah. We also need to farm more rupees. I'm going to need money because I know some of those outfits cost money, and I want to look good in this game. So that's what we'll be doing. I also do have, I believe I have the guidebook to it. So if there's anything we want and we're like, where is that? I can either look it up online or I can get the guide. I also have just about any amiibo you can imagine. I think next time I'm going to bust out Wolf Link. So we'll have a dog companion to go along with us too, which will be super fun. And that'll be great. So we'll have that too. Yeah, and we'll be able to get a lot of stuff that we normally wouldn't be able to get because I've got the amiibos. So I'm looking forward to it, and I hope that you come along. Maybe invite your friends too. The more the merrier. The more the better conversation, and all the things. I'm happy to share everything I know. I'm constantly learning, so don't worry. We will not exhaust my curiosity anytime soon. Wait, is he always with you? When you have the Wolf Link amiibo, here's some gaming stuff. Now we're going to get into my other special interest. When you have the Wolf Link amiibo and you use it, it will summon Wolf Link, who will stay with you for the duration of your gameplay. He can get attacked to the point of not being with you anymore, but then you just do the amiibo again and he's back. So yes, Yes, you can have a good boy with you, just like Jack Jack, who is on my shirt today and is right here in real life being a good boy too. So last week, update on Zelda, right? Zelda, who is named after this game because I love it so much. Jack would have been named Link. Yes, you would have been, buddy. But his name came to me in a dream, so I kept it. Um, but yeah, so Zelda is doing great. She is fantastic. We learned that her irritability was mostly because we had rearranged the furniture and she couldn't have her Zoomy track the way she wanted it. So we've moved the furniture into a bit of an awkward position for now. We're working on redoing the living room anyway. And now she can Zoom me as much as she wants to her heart's content. And she and Jack are getting tons of workouts. They are fit as fiddles and they're adorable. So, yes. Yeah, and trust me, I can bring in Legend of Zelda tips and stuff too to our streams. Zelda, you Virgo, you absolutely right. She was like, I don't like this layout, and I'm going to be ticked off and can bully Jack until you fix it. And Zelda won, as she does. So she runs this house. She absolutely runs this house. I like to say, like, someone can come up against me, and when it's a battle of who's going to outlast who or who can be more stubborn, typically I win, right? It's just if you challenge me, my Scorpio will lock in, and my Taurus will sit back and just wait you out. Zelda beats me. Zelda will win every time. So, enduring these inconveniences bravely. Yes, she is. She's a good girl. And I think she's comfier now. She did have a bit of an infection, but it's good. We got what we needed, and she is taken care of. Question from Ren: any tips for pet communication? Yes. So I'm going to preface this with a story that will help you feel like you can trust what I'm saying. So I'm going to give you an example of how I've used it, and then I'm going to tell you exactly what I did. We have 10 minutes, so I think I have time to do this. Okay. So when I first got Jack, he was a little baby tomato or potato because he's a corgi, right? This is Jack. So he was a little baby potato, and I would take him over to play with my family dog, Bailey, and they had 18 acres of woods to run around in. Now I waited until Jack was big enough that a hawk couldn't grab him, right? But he then would run off with Bailey and they would chase deer. You could end up in a cornfield. I mapped those woods when I was a kid. There's a lot of them. I made a map out of printer paper and straws that I turned into a scroll because I've always been this way. So I would need to call him, but he would not be in earshot. I would call him and nothing would happen. And so I'd start freaking out, right? But then I decided, let's work on some communication. And so what I did is I would meditate and I would try to first, my first step was see if I could sort of astral to where Jack was, if I could see through his eyes or see where he was and kind of connect with the location that he was in energetically. So that's one of your steps that you can do is kind of be where they're at. But then when I needed to communicate with him, calling him in my mind didn't work. Right. So just being like, Jack, Jack did not work in my head. You're okay, buddy. But what did work was sending a picture of the treat he was going to get when he got back. So sometimes with animals, yes, they understand what we're saying, right? They know commands. If I say sit, stay, down, all those things, they know what to do, but that's not exactly motivating for them. So what he needs is treat. um, or I would send him an image of that treat and I would try to put my energy with it. So he would know treat, he knows me. He literally knows when you say, "Where's mommy?" He looks at me. So we keep it that. I get to be gendered for the dog. But that's it. So I would do treat and where's mommy and send those energies to him. And wouldn't you know, I'm telling you, within 30 seconds every time, he would come barreling out of the woods, land at the front door, and look at me and wait for that treat. So what we have found, or what I have found, and M has corroborated this. We do this with the camels, and we did it with elephants. Anytime we have a chance to talk to animals in other countries, we talk to them. And so you send the feeling of something. And so you can send like happy, I'm so excited. And whatever image that is that gets them happy, whether it's a pepperoni or a milk bone or a goofball, whatever that is, send it to them because they know that already, right? You want to speak their language and feelings work. So feelings are the quickest language I have found for communicating with animals. Zelda is more difficult. I don't think it's because she doesn't understand. I think it's because she's a Virgo. I'm she just is less likely to be persuaded. And so she's like, I know what your actual motivation is here. The treat's not worth it. Whereas Jack is like, treat, I'll just do it. Um, Jack is a little bit smooth of the brain, but I love him. He's so wonderful and he's cozy as heck. He's a good cuddle bear. Zelda is crafty. So you have to really negotiate with her, which makes it a little bit more complicated. Personalities do play a role. So that's my quick tip on quick being like 5-minute explanation, but that's my quick tip. Send the feelings of what you want to express. And in this case, I was telling him to come home. What makes it worth him coming home? Treat. So I sent the energy and the vibe and the sounds and everything I could, the experience of you're going to get a treat, right? Shauna says, when I studied pet communication, my instructor said personal pets are harder. That's interesting. Is it because they know your tricks? Aaron says, how many Scooby snacks is Zelda negotiating? Zelda is less food motivated. She's more Jack motivated. So if I can get Jack over here and I'm like, oh, good boy, buddy, then she'll come out of jealousy. So that's one of our things. Liz can confirm feelings are great with animal communication, especially camels. Liz was with us when we did camel communication, canimal communication. Like a kid who doesn't listen to the mom by choice. Yeah. And again, when it comes to animals, especially personal pets, right? Personal animals who live with you, setting up that dynamic is really important. Training your pets, training your animals, not being mean to them, not hurting them, but setting up your foundational language with them, sit, stay, this, that, and setting up a layer of respect. Like they know when I'm serious. They know when I use the mom voice or whatever, which I had to practice because I didn't want to. They know I'm serious. And so that's another thing, just like you do with kids, I guess. I wouldn't know from experience, so I'm not going to like step into that, right? But yeah, it's a thing. So yes, with Zelda, I need to do a little bit more. I need to send like a hey kind of thing. Like right now, she is sleeping. She couldn't give a darn, and that's okay. I don't want her to be like mistaking me for being stern right now. Anyway, she's going to get cuddles later just because she's adorable. Ren says I have 2 cats, a Gemini and an Aquarius. Gemini is an angel baby, and the Aquarius is chaos incarnate. Oh, so one of the fun things that I like to look at, dogs in general are ruled by the planet Mars. But my dogs, I look at their moon because if you notice, like the moon really affects animals and stuff. So I like to check their moon. Both of these dogs are Aries moons. I don't know how I did that, but the moon was in Aries when both of these dogs were born, even though she had the sun in Virgo and he had the sun in Scorpio. The moon was in Aries. So that does come into play. When the moon is in Aries, I notice they get a little bit more amped up than usual. And I have to be a little bit more disciplinary with them and like give them some more boundaries those days. Shauna says, my Aries cat will not respond to mom voice. Well, yeah, maybe. Ren, is the Aquarius an orange cat by any chance? Asks Aaron. So yeah, again, it's just like person relationships. You just have to communicate a little bit differently. So in the end, it's all about language, and language is not always spoken word, right? So those are things to keep in mind when it comes to animal communication. That was really fun. Thank you for bringing up that question. As we round out this time, I'm just going to make sure. So ways to hang out this week. We have today. You already did it. Good job. The next opportunity is going to be on Wednesday. Wait, I don't know which day comes first. Hang on. I have to look at the actual calendar. Yeah. So Wednesday, we have not only the Surge group, if you want to join NCGR and study annual perfections with us. That will be at 1 p.m. Eastern time. And I think it's only going to go for about an hour, hour and a half. We'll see. And then that evening, we will do our Twitch stream, which again, I'm the most excited about. I love that so much. I want it to do so well because it makes me so happy. So Twitch stream on Wednesday, and then Friday we will have our ink spill. Today, the Alchemist Inkwell podcast episode will release. We have a new editor for the podcast who apparently added a whole intro and is doing fantastic. They are someone whose special interest is video editing, and so we're really fortunate to have them. Please give it a listen or a watch on the Alchemist Inkwell YouTube so that they can know, let them know how you like the new format. If you are in the Patreons of Em and me on the $15 tier or up, you have already gotten a preview. It's not edited the way that Noah would have edited it. And so I don't think it's edited in the same way. So you'll want to catch it again. It's actually worth watching again if you want to be able to see the edits on YouTube later today. We talked to our Doberman like a human. He understood 85% of language. So cool. Yeah. Our dogs understand like when we're trying to hint at going for a walk. I know we actually had to change it. And you know how Cockney is like, you choose a word that kind of rhymes and like do that secret code language. We have to say, do you want to go for a chicken? Because walk turned into spelling walk, which they got, turned into W, which they got, turned into chicken balk. Which they got. So now it's just a chicken. And so we'll go for a chicken. And that's how we get these dogs set up to go. They are so brilliant. I love them so much. Jack just had a really good stretch, and Zelda is looking out the window from her throne, which is her bed over here. So I'm going to go take care of them because it is lunchtime. Yeah. So it is lunchtime for the babies, and I've got to make sure that they get that. But I will see you guys very soon on Wednesday at the earliest. And again, we can connect on my social media platforms. I'll be putting out a YouTube video for the moon and more videos all week. Let me know what you want to see. Go into my comments. Let me know what you're looking for. I will respond to them. I will create content. I am here for you. And what I get out of it is being helpful and getting to share the stuff I'm passionate about. So do not worry. I love doing it. If I can't do it, I won't. But if I can, I will. So I'm looking forward to that. And I think you guys are fantastic. You make my week, and I hope that, I help yours as well. Thank you guys so much. We will see you on Wednesday.